Hello everybody, my name's Savannah and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video I decided to do the mid-year book freakout tag, and this was a tag created so booktubers could answer questions about all the books they've read for the first half of the year. And some of the questions will be about the books, authors, things you liked about books, basically a ton of stuff about your reading and how it has gone so far. So without further ado, let's get on with the video. So the first question is, what is the best book you've read in 2018 so far? Now, this question was pretty hard for me to answer because there are a few books that I've read that I've loved so much. So I figured I'd just pick a book that didn't really have any other category. So some of my other favorite books that I've read this year are also in this pile, but I just decided to include one that didn't have any other category in this video. And that book is Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. I loved this book so much when I read it, and I can't wait for Muse of Nightmares, the next one, to come out. This book is about this guy named Laszlo who has always had a fascination with the lost city of Weep, and when the opportunity presents itself, he is able to go journey with some people and go there, and then all is not as it seems, and so on and so forth. So that's basically what this book is about. The next question is what is the best sequel you've read in 2018? For this question, it was pretty easy for me, but it seems like so long ago I read this book because it was back in the beginning of the year. It was such a good book when I read it, and that book is Immortal Reign by Morgan Rhodes. This is the last book in the Fallen Kingdoms series. This is the sequel to the 5th book, so that's why I included it. This book was amazing, and if you love Fallen Kingdoms and you haven't read this book yet, you should definitely get to this point because these books are just so good and amazing, and I love them so much. For our third question, it is what is the new release you haven't read yet but want to? And for that, I picked like the newest release that I had, because there are a few other releases that you guys know about that I want to read. If you've watched popular books I haven't read yet, you guys know. So for this question, I picked A Reaper at the Gates by Sabaa Tahir. I really want to read this book. I loved An Ember in the Ashes and A Torch Against the Night by her, so I can't wait to see where the story is headed, and I just want to see what happens to them. My babies. Please let them be okay. For the fourth question, it is, what is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year? And that book would be Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare, which is the 3rd book in the Dark Artifices trilogy, I believe. So the first book is Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare, the second book is Lord of Shadows, and I think it is a trilogy. I'm hoping. I cannot wait for this book to come out because I just want to see how it all goes down. For number 5, what is the biggest disappointment? Now, this book actually disappointed me a lot and put me in a reading slump. So obviously I have no sympathy for this book at all. And that is The Season by Jonah, Lisa Dyer, and Stephen Dyer. This is a retelling of Pride and Prejudice, and that's mainly why I picked this book up. But then I read it and I was like, oh, I don't really like this book that much, and I always dreaded reading this. So it kind of got me in a slump and made me really not like this book that much, which was disappointing because Pride and Prejudice, come on. But it didn't measure up to the standards. For number 6, the question is, what is the biggest surprise? And I was really surprised that I actually loved this book so much, and this was one of those books that I was debating being one of my favorites, but as this already has a position in this pile, I decided to hold it back. and that book is Heartless by Marissa Meyer. Now, you can see this is just the cover or jacket to the book, but my mom is reading the book and I didn't want her messing up the cover too much because she destroys any covers or dust jackets she has on the book that she is reading. So that's why I decided to spare Heartless and take the dust jacket back. Anyway, I was really surprised to like this book so much. I know I've mentioned to you guys that I've read Cinder and Scarlet before by Marissa Meyer, and I was just like, not my favorite in the world, but not totally bad. And I think that's just because they're science fiction novels, and I'm not a huge sci-fi girl. Fantasy is definitely my go-to genre, and I was putting Heartless off, but I ended up loving it, and this is definitely a huge surprise. So for number 7, the question is, who is your favorite new author? And for that, I chose Sabaa Tahir, who wrote An Ember in the Ashes, and I picked this book up this year and I absolutely loved it. And then I read A Torch Against Night, which was great, and like I said, I want to read A Reaper at the Gates by her, and her books are just so compelling and good, and I love her writing style so much. So that is why she's my new favorite author. The next question is, who is your new fictional crush? And for that, I must go with Jest from Heartless. Again, all these characters had an impact on me, but I love Jest so much. I just wish he were real, and it hurts my heart so much when these characters you fall in love with are not real, but you love them no matter what anyway. Either way, Jest will always have a place in my heart. Number 9 is, who is your newest favorite character? And for that, I chose Lara Jean from To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. I love Lara Jean a lot because I can relate to her a lot in some aspects. Like, she is a very good student. That's me! She has sisters, but I have brothers, but, sort of connected, and I just love her goody two-shoes character a lot because that definitely reflects me, because I find it hard to find characters who are just like that in books, so she's obviously one of my new favorite characters. After that, what is a book that made you cry? And this book didn't necessarily make me bawl my eyes out, but this book definitely made me tear up at points, and that is Geekerella by Ashley Poston. And this isn't necessarily a sad book, it's just this is obviously a retelling of Cinderella, and you know how she has no parents, or no loving parents anyway, and this just made me feel like if I lost any of my parents, it's just really sad to think about it like that. That is why this book made me cry at points, because I don't do well with books without loving parents. Okay, well, that's a lot of YA books, but What is a book that made you happy? For that, I have to go with The Princess Bride by William Goldman. I struggled with picking this book because there weren't a ton of books that made me like, I'm just so happy reading these books, but this tale is like, story's just nice, warm-hearted, and it just made me happy visiting these characters who are in this fantasy world. And I can't explain it, just trust me on this one. This book made me happy. Question number 12. What is your favorite book to film adaptation you saw this year? Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli, or Love, Simon is definitely my favorite book to movie adaptation I've seen this year. I think it might be the only one. I'm not sure though, but I love the movie so much. The book was amazing. I love the movie as well, and I think they just did it so well. You need to read this book and watch the movie because you will not be sorry. So for question 13, it's, what is your favorite video you have done so far this year? And that has to be Q&A with my best friend, which features my best friend Janelle in it, and I just love that video so much because we're both really having fun with it, and it's just funny, and I got a lot of views on that too, so that was fun. And then I also like the other one where Janelle dominates the Q&A. That was good too. I just like the ones where I have another person beside me talking to a camera. What is the most beautiful book you've bought so far this year? Now, I kind of struggled at first with this, but then I was like, this is a no-brainer because this book is absolutely beautiful. And that book is The Wicked Deep by Shia Earnshaw. And it may not jump out to you on screen as much as it does in person, but I don't know if you can tell, but if you like move the book around, like the lettering and it just shimmers and it's like a rainbow and it's beautiful. And I can't get enough of it. It's truly a beautiful cover, and whatever they use on this, they should definitely use on more books because it definitely makes the books pop. And the last question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? So for this, I decided to choose 2 books that I really need to get through by the end of this year, and those are Children of Blood and Bone by Tony Adeyemi and Fury Born by Claire Legrand. If you watched Popular Books I Haven't Read Yet Part 2, you know that I need to read these ASAP. And that is why I'm including these in this video, because this needs to happen, preferably as soon as possible. So yeah. So that is all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!